Now let us see the press working dies. So based on the type of press operation, we are having the shearing dies. So dies used for blanking, piercing, punching, notching, perforating, trimming, shearing and parting operations. All these dies are known as the shearing dies or the cutting dies. Then in bending dies, the dies used for bending, curling or forming, etc. So curling operation, as you know, the curling is the operation of forming the edge of the component into a roll or a curl by bending the sheet in order to strengthen the edges and to provide the smoothness to its surface. This is the curling operation. And the bending operation, we know. Forming operation, here the forming is the operation of bending the sheet metal along the curved axis. That is the forming. The metal is confined between the punch and the die and is stressed in the compression and tension beyond its elastic limit. The shape of the component is governed by the shape of the punch and the die. So this is the forming operation. So here there is no cutting, but the material is formed. Okay. In the drawing dies, the dies used for the curling, flanging, then embossing, bulging, then squeezing dies. The dies used for coining, sizing, swagging, and flattening. So coining, we know the coining is the operation of production of the coins, metals, or other ornamental parts by the squeezing operation. So here the components get the sharp impression on its two sides corresponding to the engravings of the punch and the die. Okay, in embossing, so embossing is the operation of giving the impression of the figures or letters or designs on the sheet metal parts. This is embossing. The punch or the die or both of them may have the engravings which are marked on the sheet metal by squeezing and plastic flow of the material. So this is the embossing process. And in flattening or blanishing, it is the operation of uh, straight strengthening, you can say, or strengthening of the sheet metal which is a curved one. The ये निकाल देना, फ्लैटनिंग से कट कर देना, फ्लैटनिंग नहीं चाहिए. Okay. Now based on the type of die construction, we are having the simple dies, progressive dies, compound dies, combination dies, transfer dies, and multiple or gang dies. So simple dies are the dies designed to perform only one specific operation, like either blanking, punching, notching, trimming, etc. Only one single operation. The die may be provided with all the usual elements, including stop pins, which are used for proper indexing of the metal strips. So next is the progressive die. So in progressive dies, two or more operations are performed simultaneously at a single stroke of the press by mounting the separate sets of dies and punches at two or more different stations, and the metal is progressed from one station to the other till the complete part is obtained. So this is the progressive die. So you can see the diagram here. Okay. So the sheet is fed into the first die where the hole is pierced. See here, the sheet is fed where the first stroke we are having, and in the first stroke we are producing the hole. Okay. Now in second cutting stroke of the ram, what this pilot will do, the pilot enters into the pierced hole and correctly locate it. So this is the correctly produced hole. Now it is subjected to the second stage. Here the pilot come down and will get hold or get fit into this hole for proper locating of the sheet. Okay, and here the blanking punch, this is the blanking punch, this was the piercing punch where the hole is produced first. Now it is subjected to the second operation, that is blanking operation, where the pilot now come down, which is holding the sheet. Okay, now in the second cutting stroke of the ram, the pilot is entering into the pierced hole and correctly locate it, and now the blanking punch descends. This blanking punch will come down and shear the plate to form a washer. Okay, so this is we have taken one of the example of the washer making. So by the time the blanking operation is performed, the hole for the next washer is also pierced at the first station. So here when the blanking operation is going for, so at the same time here the for the next washer the punching or piercing operation carried out at a single time. Okay, so this is the thing about the progressive die. Okay, now we will see the compound dies. So in compound dies, two or more functions are performed at the same station of the die. So figure shows a simple compound die for producing a washer. The first die was the progressive die. This is the compound die. So here the it combines a blanking and shearing operation at one station. Okay, so simple definition of compound die is what? So in a compound die, two or more cutting operations are accomplished at one station of the press in every stroke of the ram. It is a compound die. So see here. So this is die and this is the piercing punch. This is the piercing punch and these are the blanking dies. Okay. So here two or more operations are going to perform at a single station of the press. So here the piercing punch and the blanking die are bolted to the ram. The spring-loaded stripper for the piercing punch is located within the blanking die. The lower die has cutting edges on the both sides. Look at the diagram please. The thinner edges serves as a piercing die for the piercing punch, while the outer edge serves as a blanking punch. The blanking punch is so located that as the ram is lowered, the blanking operation is completed earlier than the piercing operation. This ensures that the metal strip is firmly held before the relatively weaker piercing punch contacts it. The spring-loaded stripper plates helps in knocking out the washer produced. Okay, please understand. See the diagram carefully. So the combination dies, the fourth important category of these dies is a combination die. So you can see the die here. See the picture here. So we are having here the die. This is the drawing punch, and this outer surface you can see here, this is the blanking punch. So combination dies, they are performing both the cutting and non-cutting operations at one station of the press in every stroke of the ram. You can see the diagram illustrates here the combination of the blanking and the drawing die. Okay, or blanking and punching blanking and drawing punch you can see here. So here as the punch descends, so what will happen? So it will draw out the metal, that is it will first shear it to the required blank size here. So as soon as this punch come down, so it will shear the workpiece and produce the required blank. So we will first obtain the blank here, and once this in this obtained blank, now the drawing punch is going to descend. Okay, now the inner punch, see this is the inner punch, now descend and draw out the metal, while the blanking punch serves as the pressure pad. Okay, it will hold it. Now the drawn out cup is ejected at the end of the stroke. So this is the combination, not only cutting operation, but here the one of the operation is forming operation, that is cup drawing operation or cup making operation, that is deep drawing. So initially this blanking punch is going to produce the blank. See here, when it descend down, it will produce this blank, and this produced blank, now this blanking punch will be used as a pressure pad, and now the inside punch, this drawing punch, it descend and produce the deep drawing operation in this produced blank. Okay, so this is the combination. So same thing is written here, as the blanking punch descend, it cuts the blank or of the required size from the metal using the outer working surface of the die. The inner drawing punch now descends and draws out the metal to form required parts, while the blanking punch serves as the pressure pad. The drawn cup is then ejected from the die. See, next we are having the transfer dies. These are similar to progressive dies in that the stock is transferred progressively from one station to the next till at the last station the job is completed. Generally, pre-cut blanks are used in these transfer dies. Next, we are having the multiple or gang dies. That is, in these dies, the number of simple dies and the punch sets are grouped together in such a way that two or more work pieces are produced in each stroke. This is like a gang milling operation where on a single arbor we are mounting number of milling cutters. Same fashion we are having here multiple or gang dies. The number of simple die and punch sets are grouped together in such a way that two or more work pieces are produced at each stroke. This is the multiple or gang dies. So important thing here I want to mention about the progressive dies. So see, in progressive dies, we can also have the staggering of the punches. So staggering of the punches means having the different lengths of the punches. So once the punch number one say complete its work, so I will show the diagram here for the progressive die. See, so we can stagger the lengths of the punch here. So instead of having the entire load at a single stroke of a ram, we can have the operations not at the different stages at a single stroke. But see, when you stagger the length, stagger means cutting the minimizing the length of the punches. So when punch one is completes its operation, punch two will start its operation. So this is only the terminology used for minimizing the load in the cutting sheet metal operations. So the first methodology to provide the shear for minimizing the force, and this is the another method of methodology, that is staggering of the punches. So it can be well done in the progressive dies. So that is the thing only. Please remember it. And please remember this thing also. In progressive dies, the blanking is the last operation. Okay, blanking is the last operation. Piercing is the first operation. We have seen here the example of washer making. So here in a given sheet, the hole is pierced. Now this is subjected to second operation or second stage here. The blanking is done. So we can have the washer here final as a final product. Okay, thank you.